This is The Aerasak Demon by Celeste King.
This story is an interlude within the wider story told in the Dark Elf's Chosen serial.
It takes place between the events of Season 1 and Season 2.
It follows the demon that guided Celestian and Julius Rosenfire to Savannah.
Julius, in his rage, destroyed the crystal. At the time, we all thought that was the end of the demon.
But it was not to be.
This is his story, and the story of the woman who saved him.
Sit back and enjoy this presentation of The Aerasak Demon by Celeste King. Chapter 1. Amelia. We're not here to eat. We're looking for someone. I peer over from the table I'm clearing at the strong voice. Many people are looking for someone, but far less have such power in their voice. I spy the tall dark elf through the busy restaurant as he speaks with the hostess and his companion, visibly upset. "But how did your ethereal know who she was?" the elven man demands of his companion. In his hand sits a crystal, shimmering with power. A thing like that. It could bring a silly human girl like me out of poverty and into a decent living. Food, clothes, medicine, riches beyond anything I could dream up. The thought of finally getting to show my little brother and sister, Mark and Lily, a better life than I had, is one that makes my gut twist. If only our parents were still here. But they aren't, I remind myself, clearing more dishes off into my bin. They are no longer communicating with me, the elf's companion confesses with disappointment evident in his tone. I believe I have exhausted my goodwill with my ethereal. In a fit of boiling rage, the elven man snatches the crystal from his hand and shatters it on the floor, crunching it with the heel of his boot as it releases a puff of smoke. After that, the hostess stutters out something about a woman who came in, but I don't pay her words any mind. Only a person with power would destroy another source of power, and it sickens me. Before I know what I'm doing, I've wandered over to the shattered crystal to stare at it, and the lingering blue smoke slowly dissipating into the air. "You girl, stop gawking and clean this up before that man comes back." My superior's voice snaps me out of my trance. I drop to my knees, scooping up the shimmering shards of the crystal. The blue smoke has dissipated, leaving only the broken pieces behind. As I gather the fragments, I can't help but feel a strange pull towards them. It's as if they're whispering to me, urging me to put them back together. I glance around, ensuring no one is watching, and slip the pieces into my apron pocket. I hurry outside, the cool night air hitting my face as I step into the alley. The trash looms ahead, its rancid smell wafting towards me. I hesitate, my hand hovering over the opening. What would happen if I put the crystal back together? What would this ethereal do? My heart races at the thought. I could use the power to provide for Mark and Lily, to give them the life they deserve. But what if it's too dangerous? What if I can't control it? I shake my head, pushing the doubts aside. I can't just throw this opportunity away. I carefully pull the shards from my apron, examining them in the dim light. What could it hurt? I ask myself, gnawing at the inside of my cheek. Instead of tossing them out into the night, I tuck the shards back into my apron and go back inside to finish the rest of the night out. Each passing second feels slower and slower as I end my shift at the restaurant and hurry home. The dark streets make every shadow seem menacing, and I jump at every little sound. I clutch my bag tightly, feeling the shards of the crystal digging into my side. I finally reach home, the small wooden door creaking as I push it open. The familiar scent of home, a mix of fresh bread, herbs, and the faint hint of soot from the fireplace, wraps around me like a comforting blanket. I lock the door behind me, a habit born from years of living in a rough neighbourhood. The house is quiet, save for the soft snores coming from the bedroom I share with my siblings. I tiptoe across the worn-out rug, my heart swelling with love as I gaze at their peaceful faces. Mark's hair sticks up in every direction, a testament to his restless sleep, while Lily's curls frame her angelic features. I lean down and press a gentle kiss on each of their foreheads, whispering, "Sweet dreams, my loves." I tuck the blankets around them, smoothing out the wrinkles with a tender hand. With a final glance at their serene faces, I retreat to my own room, the smallest of the three. The moonlight filters through the single window, casting a silvery glow on the worn floorboards. I take a deep breath, my heart pounding in my chest as I reach into my apron pocket and pull out the shimmering shards of the crystal. They clink softly as they hit the floor, the sound echoing in the stillness of the night. I crouch down, my fingers tracing the jagged edges, the smooth surfaces, the intricate patterns etched into the glass-like material. The strange pull I felt earlier intensifies, urging me to put the pieces back together. "Time to see if I've lost my mind," I whisper to the crystal, as if it's listening. But the way the elf's companion regarded the crystal makes me feel that it is. I start to put the crystal back together, fitting shards together like puzzle pieces. It's surprisingly easy, as if they're drawn to each other. Finally, I put the last piece in. But nothing happens. There is no blinding light, no surge of magic. The crystal is still as broken as it was before. I let out a sigh of disappointment and lean back against the wall. Maybe it was all just a silly dream, a desperate attempt to find a way out of our current situation. Disappointed, I dress down for bed and crawl onto my lumpy straw mattress, pulling the threadbare blanket up to my chin. How could I allow myself to dream for anything different? Things don't get handed to people, not people like me. A weak human in a world of powerful creatures. I stare at the ceiling, the silence of the night pressing down on me. The crystal shards sit on the floor, mocking me with their brokenness. I should have known better than to hope for something more. I close my eyes, trying to push away the thoughts of what could have been. But sleep doesn't come easy. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the wind outside, makes me jump. I'm on edge, waiting for something to happen, but nothing does. Eventually, I drift off into a restless sleep, filled with dreams of shattered crystals and angry elves.
Chapter 2. Rathnor. "Wake, little one." My whisper caresses the air, a gentle breeze in this stifling mortal realm. The sleeping form before me stirs, a delicate flower swaying in an unseen wind. Amelia, such a fragile thing, yet she holds my very existence in her small hands. Her dark lashes flutter against pale cheeks. A pretty little blossom indeed. So unlike the fierce beauties of my homeworld. Aerasak. The name echoes in the hollow chambers of my mind, bringing with it a flood of memories, towering spires of obsidian and blood-red skies, the constant thrum of power coursing through every fiber of my being. I close my eyes, letting the images wash over me. The grand halls where I once held court, demons bowing before me in fear and reverence. The sweet taste of chaos on my tongue, the intoxicating rush of unbridled magic at my fingertips. Freedom. That's what I miss most. The ability to traverse realms at will, to bend reality to my whims. Now, I'm tethered to this slip of a girl, my powers leashed by the cursed crystal she pieced together. I open my eyes, studying Amelia's sleeping face. There's a strength in her, hidden beneath that soft exterior. I can sense it, a spark of defiance that drew me to her, even as the crystal's magic bound us together. Perhaps... no. I shake my head, banishing the traitorous thought. This arrangement is temporary, a mere blip in my immortal existence. Once I've fulfilled whatever task fate has in store, I'll be free again. Free to return to Aerasak, to reclaim my throne and my power. And yet, My gaze lingers on Amelia's peaceful features. A strand of hair falls across her cheek, and I find myself reaching out, fingers hovering just above her skin. I catch myself before making contact, withdrawing my hand as if burned. What is this strange pull she has on me? This fascination? Amelia's eyes snap open. She bolts upright, her gaze locking onto mine. The fear in those emerald depths sends an unexpected pang through my chest. Who? What are you? Her voice trembles, but there's steel beneath the terror. I raise my hands, palms out. A gesture of peace. How quaint. Peace, little one. I mean you no harm. She scrambles back, pressing herself against the headboard. That doesn't answer my question. A chuckle escapes me. No, I suppose it doesn't. I am Rathnor, demon of the Seventh Circle, and I owe you a debt of gratitude. Her brow furrows. Gratitude for what? I gesture to the nightstand where the reconstructed crystal sits. For piecing together my prison, and in doing so, binding me to you. Binding? I don't understand. By repairing the crystal, you've become my new master. I am here to serve you, Amelia. Her eyes widen. Serve me, but I can't. You can, and you will. I interrupt, my voice low and intense. It is my purpose now. My pleasure. The word feels strange on my tongue. When was the last time I derived joy from serving another? And yet, as I gaze upon this mortal woman, I feel an unfamiliar warmth spreading through my chest. But why? She whispers. I lean forward, my eyes locked on hers. Because in freeing me from my shattered prison, you've given me new purpose. Serving you will bring me happiness, little one. Let me show you the power at your command. Amelia's brow furrows, her lips twitching into a nervous smile. This is a joke, right? Some elaborate prank? Her disbelief stings more than it should. I draw myself up to my full height, allowing a hint of my true power to seep through. The air crackles with energy, and shadows dance at the edges of the room. I assure you, little one, this is no jest. Demons do not indulge in such frivolities. Her eyes widen, fear and awe warring in those emerald depths. She swallows hard, her voice barely above a whisper. So, you're really a demon? And you're bound to me? I nod, relaxing my posture. No need to terrify the poor thing. Indeed, the crystal you repaired was my prison. In freeing me, you've become my new master. Amelia's gaze darts to the nightstand, where the crystal sits innocently. She reaches out, hesitating before her fingers brush its smooth surface. I don't understand. What does that mean? What can you do? A smirk tugs at my lips. Oh, the things I could show her, the power I could unleash. But patience is key. I must not overwhelm her fragile mortal mind. Whatever you desire, little one, my powers are at your command. Wealth? I can conjure gold from thin air. Knowledge? I've lived millennia and traversed countless realms. Protection? No force in this world or beyond could harm you while I stand guard. I pause, studying her reaction. Amelia's eyes are wide, her breath coming in short gasps. Too much. Too fast. I soften my tone, crouching down to meet her gaze. But perhaps we should start with something simpler. What do you need, Amelia? What would make your life easier? She bites her lip, conflict clear on her face. I can almost see the wheels turning in her mind, weighing the possibilities against her innate caution. I don't know, she finally admits. This is all so sudden. So impossible. I reach out, my hand hovering just above hers, close enough to feel the warmth of her skin, but not quite touching. Take your time, little one. I am at your service now and always. When you're ready to explore what that means, I'll be here. Amelia's eyes spark with sudden determination. I don't need to wait. I'm hungry. Her boldness catches me off guard. A pleasant surprise. What would you like, little one? A chicken leg. Such a simple request. I feel almost insulted. But her green eyes shine with anticipation, and I find myself eager to please. As you wish. I snap my fingers. The air shimmers, reality bending to my will. A succulent chicken leg materializes on a golden plate before her. Amelia's jaw drops. She reaches out, hesitant at first, then snatches the leg. Her teeth tear into the meat with surprising ferocity. Juices dribble down her chin as she devours her prize. I watch, fascinated. Such primal hunger. Such life. She finishes, licking her fingers with unabashed pleasure. Her eyes meet mine, twinkling with mischief and newfound confidence. I have a lot of desires, Rathnor. My name on her lips sends an unexpected thrill through me. I'm here to fulfill them all, little one. She considers this, then nods. First, I want to sleep. Really sleep. No tossing and turning, no nightmares. Just peace. I bow my head. It shall be done. I'll stand guard while you rest. Amelia settles back into her bed, pulling the covers tight. I wave my hand, weaving a spell of tranquility around her. Her eyes grow heavy. Wake me in the morning? Of course. She drifts off, her breathing deep and even. For the first time since I've known her, Amelia's face is truly relaxed. I take up my post by the window, watching over my sleeping charge. This simple act of protection stirs something long dormant within me. A sense of purpose? No. Ridiculous. I am Rathnor, demon lord of the Seventh Circle. I do not find fulfillment in guarding mortal dreams. And yet, as the night wears on, I cannot deny the contentment that settles over me like a warm cloak.
Chapter 3. Amelia. I rub the sleep from my eyes, blinking a few times to adjust to the morning light. The events of last night come rushing back, and I find myself looking at Rathnor with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. He stands there, still as a statue, his dark red eyes scanning the street below. "Good morning," I say, my voice barely above a whisper. I sit up and tie my hair back, trying to ignore the fluttering in my stomach. Rathnor turns his head slightly, acknowledging my greeting with a nod. "The night was silent," he says, his deep voice sending a shiver down my spine. I can't help but stare at him, taking in his muscular build and the intricate tattoos that adorn his arms. He's unlike anyone I've ever met before, and I can't deny the pull I feel towards him. But is it wrong to be attracted to a demon? Aren't they supposed to be evil? My thoughts must be written all over my face because Rathnor raises an eyebrow, a small smirk playing on his lips. "Something on your mind?" I hesitate for a moment before deciding to voice my curiosity. "Tell me about yourself. Where do you come from? What's your history?" Rathnor's smirk fades, and he turns back to the window, his expression unreadable. "That's a long story," he says, his voice tinged with sadness. "I've got time," I reply, hoping to coax him into opening up. He's silent for a few moments, and I start to think he's not going to answer. But then he begins to speak, his voice low and measured. "I come from a world far from here, a place of darkness and chaos. I was born a demon, bound to serve whoever held my crystal." I listen intently as he tells me about his past, his voice filled with a mixture of pain and resignation. He speaks of battles fought and lives lost, of masters who were cruel and others who were kind. And through it all, he maintains a sense of dignity and strength that I can't help but admire. As he finishes his story, I realise that I've been holding my breath. I exhale slowly, trying to process everything he's just told me. Thank you for sharing that with me, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. Rathnor turns to look at me, his eyes softening. It's not something I share often, he admits. But I trust you, Emilia. His words send a warmth spreading through my chest, and I can't help but smile. Maybe demons aren't all bad after all. I want you to meet Mark and Lily, I tell Rathnor, my voice steady despite the nervous flutter in my stomach. They're young, so they might be a little scared of you at first. Rathnor's expression contorts into one I can't quite decipher, and he asks, You have children? Forgetting about his strange reaction, I laugh and shake my head. No, they're not my children, just my younger siblings. Rathnor seems to relax at my words, and he gives me a curt nod. Fine. I take a deep breath and walk out into the living area, where I find Mark and Lily huddled over a small plate of jam and bread. It's all we can afford, but they don't seem to mind. They look up as I enter, their eyes wide and curious. Hey guys, I want you to meet someone, I say, trying to sound as casual as possible. And you may be frightened at first, but he isn't going to... Rathnor simply walks out of my bedroom, his imposing figure filling the doorway. Mark and Lily shrink back, their eyes wide with fear. Monster! Mark screams, pushing Lily behind him. Emmy, get back! It's okay, I say, trying to reassure them. He's not going to hurt you. He's here to help us. Rathnor's gaze is firm as he looks at my siblings, and he gives them a small nod. Greetings, he says, his deep voice rumbling through the room. I am Rathnor. Mark and Lily stare at him for a moment, their fear slowly giving way to curiosity. Hi, they say in unison, their voices barely above a whisper. Lily's small voice cuts through the tension in the room. What are you? She steps out from behind Mark, her eyes wide with curiosity. Rathnor's gaze flicks to her, and he says simply, I am a demon of Aerasak. A demon? Mark squeaks in outrage, his eyes darting between Rathnor and me. Gods help us! I immediately go to Mark, trying to console him and explain that Rathnor is on our side. It's okay, Mark. He's not going to hurt us. He's here to help us. Human girl, Rathnor says, his voice low and serious. Do not touch me. I look over and bite back a laugh when I see Lily walking around Rathnor, poking at him curiously. You don't look like a demon, she says, her voice filled with wonder. You look like a nice magical creature. Rathnor's expression remains stoic, but I can see a hint of amusement in his eyes. I assure you, little one, I am a fearsome demon. Mark's eyes are still wide with fear, but he seems to be calming down. But why are you here? He asks, his voice trembling slightly. I was bound to Emilia when she reassembled my crystal, Rathnor explains. I am here to protect her and her family. Lily's eyes light up with excitement. So you're like our guardian angel, she exclaims. Rathnor's lips twitch into a scowl. No, he says, but Lily wraps her arms around his leg. Please detach yourself from me. I laugh gently, drawing his attention. Rathnor meets my eyes, and the scowling lessens slightly, his eyes softening. Perhaps things can work out for my family after all.
Chapter 4. Rathnor. All right, Emilia says with a laugh, picking the small human girl up and prying her off of my leg. A chuckle escapes me as I watch Emilia's futile attempts to keep her younger sister, Lily, from trying to scale me like a tree. She's quite the handful, isn't she? I say, my eyes never leaving the little girl. Emilia rolls her eyes, a small smile playing on her lips. You have no idea, but she means well. She adjusts Lily on her hip, brushing some of her own hair out of her eyes. He isn't a tree, Lily, so please stop trying to climb him. Lily pouts, crossing her arms over her chest. But I like him! The innocent words send a jolt of heat through my body. I can't help but imagine what it would be like if Amelia thought of me in the same way. The idea of her smooth skin touching mine is enough to set my body on fire. I shake my head, trying to clear the thought. Humans have been the favored choice for breeding, as female demons have become quite rare. But I am bound to serve Amelia, not to indulge in my own desires. Rathnor! Amelia's voice cuts through my thoughts, and I realize I've been staring at her for too long. Yes, I reply, trying to keep my voice steady. Is there anything you need? I furrow my brows, unimpressed with the offer. I am here to serve you, human, not the other way around. Has she understood nothing that I've told her? I watch as Amelia hesitates, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. She wants to ask me for something, but her pride is holding her back. I recognize the struggle. It's a familiar one for me. What is it? I ask gruffly, trying to hide the softness I feel towards her. She bites her lip, looking down at the floor. I was wondering if you could provide some money, just enough for food and clothes. The request is simple, and money is by no means a strange or unfamiliar request for a demon like me. But when it comes from Amelia, as though she's asking for scraps, it twists my gut. I can't help but feel a sense of protectiveness towards her, a desire to provide for her in a way that she's never had before. With a nod, I take her hand in mine, feeling the warmth of her skin against my own. A pouch of gold appears in her palm, and she gasps, looking inside with wide eyes. Perhaps she's never seen so much money before, considering I gave her more than she probably needed for her necessities. Be careful with it, I warn her, my voice softer than I intended. Greed can be a dangerous thing. She nods, her eyes still wide with shock. Thank you, Rathnor. I can't help but feel a sense of relief when Amelia instructs the children to stay home while we go to the market. Children have never been my forte, and I'd much rather focus on keeping Amelia safe than entertaining her younger siblings. As I help her slip into her cloak, I can't help but notice the way her eyes light up at the prospect of being able to afford more than just the bare necessities. It's a look I've never seen before, and it makes my chest tighten in a way I can't quite explain. The presence of gold has always come with greed. We make our way to the market, and I can feel the weight of the stares and whispers as we pass by. Amelia seems oblivious to it all, her focus solely on the stalls and the goods they have to offer. I, on the other hand, can't help but feel very aware of every strange and terrified glance thrown our way. But I push those thoughts aside and focus on my task at hand, protecting Amelia. I scan the crowd, searching for any potential threats, but all I see are curious onlookers. As we navigate the bustling market, Amelia's excitement is palpable, her gaze darting from one stall to another. She proudly displays the food she can now afford, her eyes shimmering with delight. Each item seems to her as precious as gold, and I find myself swelling with pride at being able to provide for her in this way. Rathnor, take a look at this! She exclaims, holding up a loaf of bread. Smell it! It's fresh, baked just this morning. Fresh bread is hardly a novelty, but I nod in feigned interest. And this? She points to a display of fruit, their vibrant colors drawing the eye. Picked just hours ago. Have you ever seen something so beautiful? Indeed, I have. What strikes me, however, is that she hasn't. The realization stirs a complex mix of emotions within me. What hardships has she faced to bring me back from the abyss? As we continue our market tour, I can't help but scan the crowd for potential threats. The lingering stares and whispers are a constant reminder of our unusual circumstances. But Amelia remains undeterred, her focus squarely on the goods before her. Rathnor, I think I found something you might like, she says, holding up a small pouch. It's spiced meat from the butcher's stall. I raise an eyebrow, curious despite myself. And why do you think I'd enjoy that? Her smile widens. Because it's a delicacy here, And I know you've seen and tasted many things in your long life. I thought you might appreciate something from my world, something truly special. I can't help but be moved by her thoughtfulness. Very well, I say, accepting the pouch. I'll give it a try. As I take a bite, the rich, savory flavors dance on my tongue. It's a simple pleasure, but one that brings a moment of unexpected joy. And for a brief moment, I allow myself to forget the dangers that lurk in the shadows, focusing instead on the woman who has brought light into my existence once more. Well, she prompts, jumping on her toes. Very nice, I respond with a nod. She grins and spins around, continuing her march through the marketplace. I watch as she haggles with the vendors, her voice confident and sure. It's a side of her I haven't seen before, and I can't help but feel a sense of admiration for her strength and determination. As we make our way back home, I can't help but feel a sense of contentment. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I have a purpose, like I'm truly making a difference in someone's life. And as I look over at Amelia, her arms laden with bags of food and her face flushed with excitement, I can't help but feel grateful for the chance to be a part of her world.
Chapter 5. Emilia. "This is amazing!" Lily exclaims as I sets the baskets of produce down. I can't help but smile at Lily's excitement as she rummages through the baskets, her eyes wide with wonder. Mark, too, seems to have forgotten his initial wariness of Rathnor, his focus now solely on the feast before him. The sight of their happiness fills me with a warmth that spreads through my chest. As I watch Rathnor move around the kitchen, his long fingers deftly arranging the food, I can't help but feel a strange mix of emotions. His presence is commanding, yet there's a gentleness to his movements that I hadn't expected from a demon. The warning he gave me earlier still lingers in my mind, a reminder that his powers come with a price. "Emilia," Rathnor says, his voice low and smooth. "Sit. I will take care of this." I hesitate for a moment, unsure of how to respond. It's been so long since I've had someone else to rely on, to share the burden with. But as I look into Rathnor's dark red eyes, I see a sincerity that puts me at ease. "All right," I say, stepping back and letting him take over. I turn towards the fireplace, my heart pounding in my chest. It's ridiculous, really, the way my body reacts to him. He's a demon, for God's sake. But there's something about him that draws me in, that makes me feel safe and protected. As I strike the flint, the sparks catching on the kindling, I can't help but feel a sense of gratitude towards Rathnor. He's given me a chance to provide for my family in a way I never thought possible. And for that, I'm willing to overlook the fact that he's not exactly human. "Hey, Emmy," Mark says, breaking me out of my thoughts. "Can we have some of that bread? It not stale." I turn to see him holding up a loaf of freshly baked bread, his eyes pleading. I can't help but laugh. "Actually," I begin, "I have something else in mind. I'm feeling very tired of these sad old rags." I gesture to my tattered dress before grinning up at them. "Let's go shopping." Mark and Lily jump with excitement, and the four of us head back out into the street. Downtown, where the nicest shops are, I enter one and greet the seamstress by slapping a generous amount of coins on the counter. "I'd like your finest for my family," I say, letting the confidence resonate in my tone. The seamstress calls in her workers, one to attend to each of us. Rathnor denies any new clothing, dismissing his helper with a wave of his hand. "I have no need for such trivialities," he says, his voice low and gravelly. I'm ushered into a dressing room with several dresses, and by the third dress I know I've found the one. The fabric is soft and luxurious, the colour a deep emerald green that brings out the flecks of gold in my eyes. I slip it on, feeling like a queen. Walking out, I find Rathnor standing guard facing toward the window. "Rathnor," I call, "what do you think?" He turns around, but his reaction confuses me. His eyes trail my body from head to toe, jaw clenching as his eyes flash a deeper shade of red. For a moment, I feel a shiver of fear run down my spine. But then he speaks, his voice low and husky. "You look..." His voice trails off and he ticks his jaw again. You look..." Rathnor's voice trails off as Lily bursts into the room, twirling in an adorable pink dress. The skirt flares out, and her laughter fills the air. Mark follows close behind, looking dashing in a new suit and cap. I can't help but feel a swell of pride in my chest. My, don't you two look swell?" I tease, grinning from ear to ear. Lily giggles and continues to twirl, while Mark blushes and adjusts his cap. "All right, everyone," I say, clapping my hands together. "I think it's time for a celebration. Who's up for a nice dinner?" Lily and Mark cheer in excitement, while Rathnor nods in agreement. We head out into the street, drawing stares and whispers from the people we pass. "How did they afford those clothes?" someone mutters. "They must have stolen them," another replies. I ignore them and keep my head held high. We arrive at a nice restaurant, and I usher everyone inside. The hostess gives us a skeptical look, but I flash her a smile and a generous tip, and she quickly leads us to a private table. Rathnor stands guard by the door, his imposing presence keeping any unwanted attention at bay. I sit down with my siblings, feeling a sense of contentment wash over me. For the first time in a long time, I feel like we're going to be okay. A waitress enters the room, her eyes scanning the table before they land on me. Recognition flashes across her face, and I realise it's Beatrice, a woman I used to work with at an old tavern. "Emilia?" she gasps, her eyes widening as she takes in my appearance. "What on earth? Whose good graces did you fall into?" I can't help but smile at her shock. "My own," I reply, feeling a sense of pride swell within me. "And these are my siblings, Mark and Lily." Beatrice nods, still looking stunned. "Well, it's good to see you doing so well," she says, her voice filled with genuine warmth. "What can I get you all to drink?" I encourage my siblings to order whatever they'd like, feeling a sense of freedom I've never experienced before. As Beatrice takes our orders, I can't help but notice how Rathnor shifts restlessly beside me. His gaze flicks around the room, his demeanour tense and alert. "What is it, Rathnor?" I ask, my voice low. He turns to look at me, his eyes dark and serious. "You are being watched," he says, his voice barely above a whisper. My heart skips a beat, and I glance around the room, trying to see if anyone is paying us too much attention. But everyone seems to be focused on their own conversations, their own meals. "Are you sure?" I ask, my voice filled with doubt. Rathnor nods, his jaw clenched. "I can sense it," he says. I nod, feeling a sense of unease settle in my stomach. I've never felt truly safe before, but with Rathnor I have allowed myself to. And now? Rathnor reaches toward me, brushing a strand of my hair over my shoulder as he gazes silently down at me. I swallow roughly. "Do not fret, my human," he murmurs, voice rumbling in a manner that reminds me of a cat's purr. "I will not let anyone harm you." If someone had told me a month ago that I would be running for my life instead of sitting in the stuffy classroom of the bordello, preparing to be sold off to indoor, I would have laughed.
The forest is not your safe space, little one.
But there's no avoiding my fate.
It's you. You're the one.
I've spent my entire life training to be the perfect bride for the top-bidding dark elf. So much can change in so little time.
You understand why you're being punished, right, child?
Your blood. It sings to me.
Please, let me out of here.
You need to learn your place.
Well, what are you? Where are you taking me?
Run!
I'm a bringer of death.
No, you're not dying. I won't let you.
You won't be able to get out.
Let me go, please.
Sadie, I will make you mine. Chapter 6. Rathnor. Thank you for carrying them, Amelia sighs as we walk through the torchlit street after dark. It's been quite a day for them. And for you as well, I grunt, thinking of that pathetic creature who has clearly been watching her. I don't know who the hell they are, but by the deceiver I will find them and carve their eyes out of their skull. I watch as Amelia tucks the children into their beds, her gentle touch and soothing whispers a stark contrast to the chaos of my past. A strange warmth spreads through me, and I find myself wanting to protect this fragile human family. Escorting her to her bedroom, I take my post by the door, ready to guard her from any threat. But Amelia's soft voice breaks the silence. Rathnor, would you come sit on my bed? Surprised, I hesitate for a moment before complying. Her eyes search mine as she asks, Do you still think I'm being watched? I nod, my expression grave. Yes, the one who's been following you. I can sense their presence. Amelia's brow furrows and she bites her lower lip. How can you tell? I let out a sigh, diving deep into the chasms of my ancient memories. The previous master I served demanded I locate and observe countless creatures over the years, even when I was confined within the crystal. It's a skill I've sharpened with time. Amelia hangs on to my every word, her eyes never straying from my gaze. That must have been exhausting, she whispers, her voice brimming with compassion. I shrug, attempting to shrug off the burden of my past. It was my obligation. But now, my allegiance resides with you and your kin. That man was an imbecile to shatter your crystal, she utters vehemently, her passion evident. Perhaps, I ponder, but it's not entirely disheartening. Instead of being bound to the whims of an arrogant elven man, I find myself connected to a simple human woman. She remains oblivious to the true extent of my power, my reach. Even if she were aware, it's doubtful she would exploit it for her own gain as others have. This may not be true freedom, but it feels tantalizingly close. Amelia's gaze locks with mine, a deep understanding etched in her eyes. She reaches out, her fingers grazing my palm, sending an electric jolt through me. Rathnor, I know the weight of being shackled, the burden of serving others. Her touch ignites an urge within me, a desire to unveil my darkest yearnings to her. I swallow hard, my voice barely a murmur. I crave something more than this bond to the crystal, Amelia. I yearn for freedom, the power to make my own choices. Her eyes widen, but she doesn't withdraw. Instead, she clutches my hand gently, offering silent support. I understand, Rathnor. Truly I do. Drawing in a deep breath, I let the words cascade out of me like a torrent. I've been enslaved for eons, compelled to serve one master after another. I yearn to break free from this cycle to become my own entity. A heavy quiet envelops us, our intertwined hands a testament to our shared vulnerability. Amelia's admission hangs in the air, charged with the weight of unspoken dreams and sacrifices. Her voice trembles as she continues. I can't remember the last time I allowed myself to envision a life beyond mere survival. The raw honesty in her words pulls at my heartstrings, and I find myself even more entwined in her life, her struggles, and her resilience. Dreams have a way of fading when reality becomes too harsh, I offer, trying to bridge the gap between us with understanding. She offers a weak smile, her eyes brimming with unshed tears that speak volumes about her past. I thought I'd lost the ability to dream, to hope for something more. But with you by my side, it feels as though I'm slowly learning to breathe again. Gratitude shines in her eyes as she squeezes my hand, her voice barely above a murmur. Thank you, Rathnor, for giving me and my siblings a glimmer of hope, for making us believe that there's more to life than just existing, surviving. The silence that follows is a comfortable one, filled with the quiet hum of possibility and the promise of a future that extends beyond the confines of our current circumstances. As we sit there, our hands still clasped together, I can't help but feel a sense of contentment wash over me. Standing, I encourage Amelia to dress for bed and assure her that I will stand watch. For some reason, she appears disappointed, but she doesn't argue and I don't ask. I can't help but wonder what's going through her mind. She takes a nightgown from her trunk and disrobes, unlacing the back of her dress. I attempt to avert my eyes, trying to maintain some semblance of propriety, but they are inevitably drawn back to her at the sound of rustling fabric. The sight of her exposed skin nearly makes me salivate, but it disappears beneath the sheer fabric of her old nightgown. I snap my attention back out the window, focusing on the darkness beyond. This sexy little human might be the end of my resolve. I've been bound to countless masters before, but none have ever made me feel this way. The way she looks at me, the way she trusts me, it's intoxicating. I can't help but feel a deep connection to her, one that goes beyond the simple bond of the crystal. I take a deep breath, trying to calm my racing thoughts. I can't let myself get distracted. I need to focus on protecting her and her family. That's my duty, my purpose. I can't let my own desires get in the way of that. But as I watch her settle into bed, her eyes fluttering closed, I can't help but feel a pang of longing. I want to be the one to protect her, to keep her safe from harm. I want to be the one she turns to when she's scared or upset. I want to be the one she trusts implicitly. I shake my head, trying to clear my thoughts. I can't let myself get carried away. I need to stay focused, to stay in control. I can't let my emotions get the better of me. But as I take my post by the door, watching over her as she sleeps, I can't help but feel a sense of contentment. For the first time in centuries, I feel like I have a purpose, a reason to exist beyond simply serving my master. And for some reason, that feels incredibly liberating.
Chapter 7. Emilia. "I'll take 2 of these, please," I say with a smile, pointing toward the sacks of flour. The merchant places them in my basket, waiting expectantly as I fish out his owed coin. The sun warms my face as I meander through the bustling marketplace, my eyes scanning the various stalls for the perfect gift. Having Rathnor around has been a blessing, and I can't help but feel a sense of gratitude towards him, despite his being bound to me by some sort of demon magic. I pause at a weaponsmith's display, admiring the intricate designs etched into the blades. Perhaps Rathnor would appreciate a fine weapon, a symbol of our newfound partnership. "Ah, a beautiful day, isn't it?" A voice interrupts my thoughts, and I turn to find a tall, dark-haired man standing beside me. It takes me a moment to place him, but when I do, my heart skips a beat. Gareth, a very well-known dark elf crime boss. "Gareth," I say cautiously, offering a polite nod. "What brings you to the market today?" He flashes a charming smile, his eyes scanning the weapons on display. "Just admiring the craftsmanship. I have a bit of a weakness for fine blades." I force a smile, trying to keep my unease hidden. They are quite impressive. Gareth turns to face me, his gaze intense. "I must say, Emilia, I've heard some interesting rumours about you lately. It seems you've come into some good fortune." I feel a chill run down my spine, but I keep my expression neutral. "Just a bit of luck, I suppose." He leans in closer, his voice low. "Luck can be a dangerous thing, Emilia. It would be a shame if something were to happen to your newfound wealth, or your family." I take a step back, my eyes instinctively searching for Rathnor. Is that a threat? Gareth's eyes narrow, and he steps closer, invading my personal space. "I'm not asking, Emilia. You'll work for me, or your family will suffer the consequences." My heart races, but I stand my ground. I won't be a pawn in your twisted games. Just as I brace myself for his retaliation, a familiar presence appears beside me. Rathnor's imposing figure towers over Gareth, his dark red eyes blazing with fury. Hold your tongue, dark elf, or I shall stop it from wagging. Gareth laughs, clearly not believing Rathnor's words. And whose do you think you are? Rathnor's hand clenches into a fist, and the air around us crackles with energy. The faint glow of his demonic tattoos intensifies, casting an eerie light on the surrounding stalls. You would do well not to underestimate me. Gareth's smirk falters, but he quickly recovers, drawing a wicked-looking dagger from his belt. I've dealt with your kind before, demon. You're no match for me. Rathnor's eyes flicker with amusement, and he raises his hand. A burst of flames erupts from his palm, sending nearby shoppers scattering in terror. I assure you, I am not like the others. Gareth's eyes widen in shock, and he takes a step back. Impressive, but I doubt you'd risk causing a scene in such a public place. Rathnor's grin widens, and he gestures to the chaos around us. You underestimate my desire to protect what's mine. With a flick of his wrist, Rathnor sends a wave of energy towards Gareth, sending him flying into a nearby stall. The dark elf crashes to the ground, his dagger skittering across the cobblestones. Rathnor advances on him, his eyes glowing with a fierce intensity. Leave Amelia and her family alone, or you will be the one to face the consequences. Gareth scrambles to his feet, his eyes darting around for an escape. You will pay for that. With a final glare, he disappears into the crowd, leaving Rathnor and me alone amidst the wreckage of the marketplace. I release a quivering breath, my legs barely holding me up as I take in the chaos around us. The marketplace is in complete disarray, stalls toppled and goods scattered. Rathnor turns to me, his fierce expression melting into one of concern. Did he harm you? His strong arm encircles my waist, supporting my trembling frame against his solid build. I nod weakly, finding my voice. Mark and Lily. He quickly reassures me, gesturing towards the end of the nearest pier where my younger siblings sit, blissfully unaware of the danger that just unfolded. Their legs dangle and kick carelessly above the water. Relief washes over me as I nod again, feeling some of the tension drain from my body. Still, I can't shake the lingering unease. Gareth may have retreated for now, but I'm certain this isn't the end of his threats. With Rathnor's protective presence at my side, we make our way back to the sanctuary of our home. It seems that Rathnor would have no need for a dagger or blade of any kind after all.
In a world of elves, demons, and liches.
What would you choose?
Power?
Or passion?
Would you stab the monster in the back?
Or take him to bed?
The immersive fantasy audiobook bundle has it all.
Go to worldsofprotheka.com to get access.
Use code YouTube30 to get an additional 30% off.
Protheka's magic is eternal. Audio bundles will make it immersive.
Chapter 8. Rathnor. The anger from that puny creature's attempts at claiming my human and her young ones lingers as we approach their shack of a house. Did he really think she would leave me to serve him? As if there is anything that bastard has that would draw her away from me. I can provide for her. I can keep her safe. His threats mean nothing. Stop. The command leaves my lips, thick with annoyance. Amelia's hand halts over the doorknob, her eyes meeting mine, confusion etched on her face. What is it? Back up, I order, my voice low and commanding. Amelia, Mark, and Lily retreat a few steps, their curious gazes following my every move. Drawing on my powers, I focus on the dilapidated structure before us. A glimmer covers the walls of her home, expanding and shimmering in the afternoon sun. Slowly, the pathetic dwelling transforms into a beautifully furnished, spacious home. The walls stretch outward, The roof lifts, and the once rickety door is replaced with a sturdy, ornate one. The exterior is now adorned with intricate carvings, and the windows gleam with new glass. The three of them gasp in awe, Mark and Lily racing forward to get inside. Amelia, however, remains rooted to the spot, her hand resting over her chest. The movement draws my attention to her breasts as they shift with every breath she takes. "Oh, Rathnor, She stammers, her eyes wide with disbelief. I can't help but feel a sense of satisfaction at her reaction. It's a small thing, but it's a start. A step towards providing her with the life she deserves. "Do you like it?" I ask, my voice softer now. Amelia nods, her lips parting in a silent, "Wow." I can't help but smirk at her reaction. It seems that even a demon can find joy in bringing happiness to others. As Mark and Lily explore their new home, Amelia approaches me, her eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Rathnor," she whispers, her hand reaching out to touch my arm. The contact sends a jolt of electricity through me, and I can't help but feel a stirring of emotions I've never experienced before. "It's my pleasure," I reply, my voice husky. Amelia's smile widens, and for a moment, all the darkness in my past seems to fade away. Perhaps there is hope for me yet. Hope for a future where I can be more than just a demon bound by a crystal. It's foolish, pathetic, and soft, but it's true nonetheless. Gareth holds nothing in comparison to me. "What else can I do for you?" I ask. "Your wish is mine to grant." Amelia shakes her head, her long brown hair cascading over her shoulders. "I couldn't possibly need anything more than what you've given me, Rathnor." Her words catch me off guard. I'd expected her to ask for more. Jewels, fine clothing, anything to suit her fancy. But she doesn't. Instead, she stands there, her deep green eyes filled with gratitude and contentment. It's a strange sensation, this warmth that spreads through my chest. I've never experienced it before, not with any of the other masters I've served. But with Amelia, it's different. She's different. I trail behind Amelia, my eyes instinctively drawn to her alluring form. Her curves captivate me, her hips swaying gently with each confident stride she takes as she explores the house. The way her dress clings to her figure, highlighting her narrow waist and the enticing swell of her breasts, makes it a challenge to look away. "Emmy! Emmy!" Mark and Lily's exuberant voices echo through the halls as they excitedly announce their newfound personal spaces. Their laughter fills the air, an unfamiliar yet oddly comforting sound that I've never experienced before. The genuine happiness in their voices tugs at something deep within me, a sensation that feels almost alien yet strangely welcome. As a demon bound by a crystal, I've served countless masters, but this feeling of being a part of something more, something truly meaningful, is entirely new. The warmth in my chest grows as I watch Amelia interact with her siblings, her love for them evident in every gesture and word. I can't help but feel a sense of protectiveness towards this small, tight-knit family. It's a sensation that's both foreign and exhilarating, and I find myself willing to do whatever it takes to ensure their happiness and safety. For the first time in my existence, I understand the true meaning of serving not out of obligation, but out of genuine care and devotion. And as I watch Amelia, her deep green eyes filled with love and laughter, I know that I would do anything to keep that look on her face. Amelia laughs in joy, turning to face me. Her eyes sparkle with happiness, and it's in that moment that I lose all sense of reason. Without thinking, I take her by the waist and pull her into me, my lips finding hers in a passionate kiss. She gasps in surprise, her body stiffening for a moment before she relaxes into my embrace. Her arms wrap around my neck, her fingers tangling in my hair as she deepens the kiss. It's a moment of pure bliss, a moment where nothing else matters but the feel of her body pressed against mine. But all too soon, it comes to an end. Amelia pulls away, her cheeks flushed and her eyes wide with shock. She tastes exquisite, like strawberries and seduction, and I devour every crumb, letting any other thought flee from me as her breasts press against my chest.
Chapter 9. Emilia. The feeling of Rathnor's lips against mine is one that I've never experienced, and it ends all too soon. Rathnor's sudden retreat leaves me breathless, his eyes wide with shock. He mutters, "I should not have done that." My mind races, trying to process the intensity of our shared moment. Instead of finding the right words, I act on impulse. I grab him, pulling his lips back to mine. Our kiss deepens, growing more passionate with each passing second. Rathnor's hands explore my body, leaving a trail of fire wherever they touch. He grazes my breasts, eliciting a moan that escapes my lips before I can stop it. "Emilia," he groans, his voice strained. "Do not make those noises. I won't be able to contain myself." I tangle my fingers in his hair, pulling him closer. "I don't want you to hold back," I whisper, my breath hot against his skin. His eyes flash with a mixture of desire and surprise. "Is that a wish?" he asks, his voice barely above a whisper. I nod, my heart pounding in my chest. "You are my wish," I confess breathlessly. Rathnor's response is immediate. He scoops me up in his arms, carrying me to the nearby couch. Our kiss deepens as he lays me down, his body pressing against mine. I can feel the heat radiating from him, and it sets my entire being ablaze. I can't help it. I can't fight my attraction for him any longer. I simply won't. The desire that courses through my veins is too potent, too intoxicating to deny. It's a fire that consumes me, a force that binds me to him with an intensity that leaves no room for doubt or hesitation. "Tell me what you want," Rathnor growls, the sound vibrating through my core as his hands deftly shred the top of my dress, bearing me to the cool air and to the scorching heat of his gaze. His fingers trace the curves of my exposed flesh, and I tremble under his touch. His eyes, dark with desire, hold a question, a need for my consent. I give it willingly, my voice barely a whisper, as I utter the words that will unleash his passion. "Taste me," I instruct, my command laced with the hunger that threatens to overwhelm me. While YouTube won't let us share this with you, that isn't going to stop us. If you want a taste of this spicy scene, you can find it at worldsofprotheka.com. For every tantalizing detail, we offer you a 30% discount with promo code YouTube30. Apply it at checkout, and you can get a 30% discount on any digital product the site has to offer. Enjoy the uncut, ad-free version of this audiobook at a discount, and never miss another dirty, heart-racing detail. Back the story. As our breathing slowly returns to normal, Rathnor lifts his head to meet my gaze. The intensity of his eyes takes my breath away, and I know without a doubt that I am irrevocably his, just as he is mine. "Emilia," he murmurs, his voice a tender caress that warms me to my core. "You undo me." I smile, my fingers tracing the line of his jaw, feeling the rough stubble beneath my touch. With a contented sigh, I snuggle closer to him, relishing the feel of his arms tightening around me. In this moment, with Rathnor by my side, I know that no matter what the future holds, we will face it together.
Chapter 10. Rathnor. "My, what a beautiful morning," Emilia muses, opening her parasol as she strolls through the door into her new backyard. She spent every hour since she woke up exploring her new home. I watch Emilia's face light up as she takes in the sight of her backyard, the simple bushes and flower beds I'd conjured earlier. Her eyes widen and she gasps, "This is amazing." The genuine joy in her voice stirs something deep within me. I can't help but chuckle, a low rumble in my chest. "This is nothing," I say, and with a thought, I transform the modest garden into a truly magnificent one. Lush greenery surrounds us, and vibrant flowers bloom in every direction. A crystal-clear pond, complete with a small waterfall, appears at the center of the garden. The air is filled with the sweet scent of blossoms and the gentle sound of water trickling over rocks. Amelia's eyes brim with tears, and I immediately assume I've done something wrong. "Amelia," I say with alarm, preparing to undo the transformation. "I didn't mean to upset you." But before I can finish, she grabs my arm and hugs it to her body. The sensation of her breasts pressing against my forearm renders me speechless. I've been close to her before, but each time is like the first, and the intimacy of the moment takes me by surprise. "No, Rathnor," she says, her voice thick with emotion. My tears are from joy. "Thank you." I stand there, frozen, as she releases my arm and wipes her eyes. The sincerity in her words touches me in a way I hadn't expected. I'd created the garden to impress her, to show her the extent of my powers. But seeing her reaction, I realize that it's not just about the magic. It's about making her happy. And in that moment, I understand that I want to do that more than anything else. I gesture for Amelia to enter the garden, my heart swelling with pride as I present her with the transformed space. "Explore. All of this is yours." She wipes an escaped tear from her cheek, turning to the garden in disbelief. I follow her as she wanders down the winding paths, her eyes wide with wonder. She chatters excitedly about her love for nature, for things that are simple and inconsequential to others, but are truly amazing to her. As we reach the pond, Amelia peers in, squealing with delight at the sight of the fish darting beneath the surface. I can't help but smile at her enthusiasm, feeling a warmth spread through my chest that I've never experienced before. I pick a flower, its petals a deep, rich purple that matches the color of her eyes. Gently, I tuck it behind her ear, my fingers brushing against her soft, warm skin. She looks up at me, her eyes shining with gratitude and something more. The desire to take her right here and now is almost overwhelming, but I hold back, not wanting to overwhelm her. Instead, I caress her cheek, my thumb tracing the curve of her jaw. She leans into my touch, her eyes fluttering closed. For a moment, time seems to stand still as we stand there, lost in each other's presence. The sound of the waterfall and the rustling of the leaves in the wind fade away, leaving only the sound of our breathing. Her eyes are locked with mine as the pad of my thumb grazes over her lips. The unexpected sensation of her warm breath sends a jolt of desire straight to my loins. I'm taken aback, but the surprise quickly gives way to a primal hunger. Shocking me further, she parts her lips and takes my thumb into her mouth. Her tongue teases the skin, and I bite my lip to suppress a groan. The sight of her like this, so innocent yet so seductive, is almost too much to bear. I drop my wetted thumb down to her chest, the heat of her body radiating through the fabric of her dress. She gasps, her eyes fluttering closed as she leans into my touch. "Rathnor," she whispers, my name on her lips like a prayer. The sound is intoxicating, and I can't resist the pull any longer. I capture her mouth with mine, our tongues dancing together in a passionate kiss. She moans softly, her hands reaching up to tangle in my hair. I deepen the kiss, my other hand exploring the curves of her body. The feel of her skin against mine is electrifying, and I know I'll never get enough of her. As we break apart, both of us breathless, I press my forehead against hers. "Amelia," I murmur, my voice thick with desire. "You have no idea what you do to me." She smiles, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "I think I have some idea," she says, her hand trailing down my chest to rest on my belt. I groan, my hips bucking involuntarily at her touch. "Amelia," I warn, my voice low and dangerous. But she just laughs, a carefree sound that fills me with warmth and pulls back. She plants a kiss on my cheek and stands, inviting me to join her again. I take a deep breath, trying to quell my need to ravish her endlessly. This woman, she has vexed me entirely.
Chapter 11. Emilia. You know, I say with a sigh, kicking my feet against the grass as we walk, I've always wanted to be an artist. Rathnor hums curiously, glancing sideways at me. Is that so? I stop to smell a particularly bright bushel of flowers. I used to be quite good, but without the money for supplies and the time to practice, well, the talent and the passion just disappeared. Rathnor pulls me into a beautiful gazebo that definitely wasn't there a few moments ago. I blink, trying to process the sudden appearance of the structure. Just how much can he do? In the centre of the gazebo, Rathnor waves his hand and a canvas appears on an easel, equipped with paints and brushes. I gasp, causing him to smile. Go ahead, try it out. I hesitate, taking a paintbrush from the collection. I'm probably no good anymore. He chuckles and shakes his head. Try, little human. I take a deep breath, dipping the brush into the rich, vibrant paint. The bristles glide across the canvas, and I'm surprised by the familiarity of the motion. The strokes come to me like magic, and I lose myself in the act of creation. Rathnor watches me, his eyes filled with curiosity and warmth. I can feel his gaze on me, but it doesn't make me uncomfortable. Instead, it feels like a gentle encouragement, urging me to continue. As I paint, I start to feel a sense of peace wash over me. It's been so long since I've allowed myself to be creative, to express myself in this way. I can feel the tension in my shoulders start to ease, and I let out a contented sigh. When I finally step back to admire my work, I'm amazed by what I see. It's a beautiful landscape, filled with vibrant colours and intricate details. I can't believe I created something so stunning. Rathnor's eyes widen as he takes in the painting. That's incredible, Emilia. I blush, feeling a sense of pride swell in my chest. Thank you. I didn't realise how much I missed painting. He smiles, taking my hand in his. I'm glad I could help you rediscover your passion. As we stand there, admiring the painting together, I can't help but feel grateful for this demon who has entered my life. He's shown me a world of possibilities, and I can't wait to see what else he has in store for me. Emmy! Emmy! The sound of my little siblings' voices overlapping with awe and joy draws my attention away from the painting and Rathnor. The two of them have eyes as wide as milk saucers. This place is amazing, Lily says, skipping up the stairs. Where did it come from? Mark wonders, stumbling up after her. I can't help but laugh at their enthusiasm, the sound of their delight echoing through the enchanted garden. But my laughter is quickly drowned out by the grand sound of an orchestra. I spin around to see the instruments floating above Rathnor, creating the most beautiful sound I've ever heard. Lily squeals excitedly and begins dancing, her movements graceful and carefree. She grabs Mark's hand, forcing him to join her. He hesitates at first, but soon gives in to the music, a smile spreading across his face. I burst into joyful laughter watching them spin and bow, their laughter mingling with the music. It's a sight I never thought I'd see, and it fills my heart with warmth. Rathnor clears his throat, pulling my attention back to where he holds his hand out to me. It has come to my attention that usually a lady of your age has been asked to dance at least once before. So, I return his smile and place my hand in his, allowing him to escort me to the centre of the gazebo. The melody encircles us, its hypnotic rhythm coaxing a sense of tranquility from deep within. It's been ages since I last allowed myself to relinquish control and simply enjoy the moment, and I can't help but feel grateful for this demon who's found his way into my life. His powerful arms enclose me, his palm anchoring firmly against my back, pulling me ever closer. My breath catches in my throat as our bodies press together, and my eyes are inexplicably drawn to his captivating lips. Gods, he's mesmerizing. Is this to your liking? He inquires, his breath grazing my lashes and sending a shiver down my spine. With a sudden, fluid motion, he spins me around, my skirt billowing like a dark cloud around me. A laugh bubbles up from within me, unrestrained and genuine, as I feel lighter and more carefree than I have in years. The world blurs around us, and for a moment, all that exists is Rathnor and I, bound together in this intimate dance. This is incredible, I admit, pressing myself even closer to him, savouring the warmth of his powerful body against mine. Careful, darling, he grunts in my ear, his arm encircling my waist completely, pulling me tighter against him. Mark and Lily are still here, watching. I nestle into the crook of his neck, stealing a glance at the children skipping and hopping behind him. Their laughter blends with the melody still echoing in the air, and my heart swells with affection. As the music finally comes to a close, I find myself breathless and exhilarated, my heart pounding with newfound energy. Rathnor's dark red eyes meet mine, and I see a hint of vulnerability beneath the surface, a testament to the connection we share. For the first time in what feels like forever, I allow myself to truly believe that I am worthy of this demon's love and protection. Rathnor smiles down at me, his eyes filled with warmth. I'm glad you enjoyed that, little human. I smile back, feeling a sense of contentment wash over me. I did. Thank you. As we walk back to the house hand in hand, I can't help but feel like everything is finally falling into place. I have a home, a family, and a demon who cares for me. It's more than I ever could have hoped for.
Chapter 12. Rathnor. Put that over there, I instruct, watching the group of human men lift and carry the table toward the left side of the marketplace. I nod, satisfied with their ability to obey simple orders. Amelia's soft voice breaks through the organized chaos. Rathnor, what's happening here? I turn to face her, taking her hand in mine. A gentle kiss on her knuckles. A grand feast, my dear. Her eyes widen in disbelief. You did this? I nod, a faint smile playing on my lips. It seems your neighbors have been suffering under the heavy hand of a certain crime lord. She gasps. Gareth? Indeed. I watch as understanding dawns on her face. He's been taxing these people to fill his own pockets. I cannot abide such injustice. Amelia looks around, taking in the bustling activity, the grateful faces of the townsfolk. But why? Why go through all this trouble? I gaze into her deep green eyes, my voice barely above a whisper. Because you are mine, Amelia, and I protect what's mine. And to show that pathetic bastard that he is not as powerful as me, he should enjoy his feudal reign, because it won't last much longer. She blushes, a small smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. Thank you, Rathnor. This means more to them than you could ever know. I squeeze her hand. And to you, my love. Together, we oversee the preparations, our bond growing stronger with each passing moment. The townsfolk work tirelessly, their gratitude evident in their actions. As the sun begins to set, the marketplace transforms into a magical scene, filled with laughter, music, and the tantalizing aroma of food. Gareth may think he can control Amelia, but he's sorely mistaken. She is mine, and I will not let him or anyone else harm her, or those she cares about. I can see the joy in Amelia's eyes as she watches the townsfolk come together, their laughter and gratitude filling the air. It's a sight that warms my cold demon heart, and I can't help but feel a sense of pride knowing that I've played a part in making this happen. As the night goes on, I find myself lost in the music and laughter, enjoying the simple pleasures of being among humans. It's a feeling I never thought I would experience, but one that I'm quickly growing to love. And as I watch Amelia dance with her siblings, her face glowing with happiness, I know that I would do anything to keep that smile on her face. As her demon, it's my duty to protect her and make her happy, and I vow to do whatever it takes to ensure that she always has a reason to smile. Lily runs up to me, her face covered in cherry filling from a pie. "Rathnor! Rathnor!" she squeals, climbing up my leg. "You're the best demon ever!" I chuckle and shake my head, patting the small child on her head. "Thank you, Lily. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself." Amelia climbs onto a table and calls for everyone's attention. The chatter dies down and all eyes are on her. She takes a deep breath and begins to speak, her voice strong and confident. "I just wanted to take a moment to thank everyone for coming tonight. It means so much to me to see our community coming together like this. And I especially want to thank Rathnor." She turns to me, her eyes shining with gratitude. Without him, none of this would have been possible. The crowd erupts into cheers and applause, and I can't help but feel a swell of pride in my chest. I never thought I would find myself in a situation like this, but being here with Amelia and her family, seeing the joy and happiness on their faces, makes it all worth it. As Amelia speaks, I can't help but gaze up at her, admiring the way her dress hugs every inch of her body and accentuates her breasts. I've seen many women in my long life, but none have ever been as desirable as her. Her words of praise for the good I've done fill me with a sense of pride I've never felt before. It's not often that a demon is praised for their actions, but hearing it from Amelia's lips makes it all the more meaningful. She continues to speak, encouraging the people to come together and share in their strength. Her passion and determination are inspiring. I can't help but feel a sense of awe at the woman standing before me. And then she shocks me with her next words. "And I want to thank Rathnor, not just for what he's done for our community, but for what he's done for me." She pauses, taking a deep breath before continuing. "I love him." The crowd erupts into cheers and applause, but I can barely hear them over the pounding of my heart. I never expected to hear those words from Amelia's lips, and I'm not sure how to react. I make my way through the crowd, my eyes never leaving hers. She loves me. This woman loves me. No matter how many times I repeat that, I can't hardly believe it. How could it be that a woman like her, so pure, so beautiful, could love a demon? A monster that most would rather kill than care for? Chapter 13. Rathnor. The sensation in my chest is unlike any other. I wasn't aware one could feel so light but full. Could it be that human women are acceptable for more than just breeding? Walking up to her, I wrap my hands around her waist and take her down from the table. "You little one caused quite a scene," I muse. Her seductive lips pucker into a smile. "Then should we find some privacy?" My body throbs, straining against the fabric that keeps it restrained. "Yes," I growl. Taking her by the hand, I drag Amelia behind a nearby building, our bodies crashing together in a frenzy of lips, hands, and desire. "Are you sure you're human?" I demand, hiking her skirt up around her waist. "Not a succubus, a seductress, a vixen." "Oh, Rathnor," she moans, wrapping her legs around my waist. The sound of her voice sends a shiver down my spine. "I'm sorry, but if you want to get a glimpse of what happens in this dim alley, you're going to have to get it from worldsofprotheka.com. Due to YouTube's guidelines, we just aren't allowed to put something so spicy on air. That's why we're giving you the opportunity to get a 30% discount right now with promo code YouTube30. This discount can apply to any digital product on the site, including ebooks, audiobooks, and bundles. Get the full uncut version of this exclusive Dark Elf's Chosen side story at a discount and listen ad-free without interruption. Now, where were we? Slowly, I lower Amelia to the ground, my arms still wrapped around her waist. She looks up at me, her eyes shining with a mixture of emotions that I can't quite decipher. "What are you thinking, little human?" I ask, my voice softening. She smiles, her fingers tracing the lines of my jaw. I'm thinking that I never want this to end. I can't help but smile back, my heart swelling with a feeling that I can't quite put into words. Maybe, just maybe, this human woman is more than just a means to an end. Maybe she's the key to my freedom, the one thing that can make me whole again. I take her in my arms, holding her close, feeling the pounding of her heart against my chest. We stand there in the darkness, our bodies still thrumming with the aftershocks of our passion. After a moment, Amelia steps back, adjusting her clothing, a soft blush coloring her cheeks. I watch her, a sense of satisfaction and contentment filling me. This woman, this incredible, fierce, beautiful woman, has become my world. Let's go home.
Chapter 14. Amelia. Watch your step here, Rathnor murmurs in my ear, his voice sending chills up and down my spine. The soft silk of the blindfold caresses my face as Rathnor leads me through the grass, my heart pounding with anticipation. I can't help but wonder what he has planned for us this time. The scent of fresh flowers and the distant sound of a babbling brook fill my senses, making me feel alive and connected to the world around me. Suddenly Rathnor stops, and I hear the rustle of fabric as he removes the blindfold. I blink, my eyes adjusting to the soft glow of hundreds of candles that surround us. The sight takes my breath away. A beautifully planned picnic awaits us in the gazebo, with plush pillows and velvet blankets at the centre. The flickering candlelight dances across Rathnor's face, casting shadows that highlight his strong jawline and piercing red eyes. Rathnor, I whisper, my voice filled with awe and gratitude. He takes my hand and guides me up the stairs, the warmth of his touch sending a jolt of electricity through my body. I sit down on the plush cushions, my eyes wide as I take in the feast before us. Platters of exotic fruits, cheeses and meats are arranged artfully on the table, along with a bottle of wine that sparkles in the candlelight. Rathnor pours me a glass of wine and offers it to me with a smile. I take a sip, the rich, fruity flavour exploding on my tongue. We sit in comfortable silence for a moment, enjoying the beauty of our surroundings and the delicious food. As we eat, Rathnor tells me stories of his past, of the worlds he has seen and the adventures he has had. I listen, entranced by his words and the passion in his voice. For the first time in my life, I feel truly seen and understood by someone. We laugh and talk late into the night, the candles burning low as we share our hopes and dreams for the future. And as Rathnor takes my hand and pulls me close, I know that I have found my soulmate, my partner in crime, and my best friend all rolled into one. Thank you, I whisper, my voice filled with emotion. This has been the most magical night of my life. Rathnor smiles, his eyes shining with love and devotion. And it's only the beginning, my love. I know that I am not the most skilled in displaying my affection. I've never felt so possessive over another before. I shake my head in disbelief, a small smile playing on my lips. I disagree entirely. He says that he is unskilled, but I feel that he has done nothing but show his affections through his actions and even his words. Rathnor's dark red eyes search mine, and he takes my hand, his thumb gently caressing my knuckles. You vex me like no other, Amelia. My heart skips a beat at his confession. I can see the vulnerability in his gaze, the struggle to put his feelings into words. It's a rare moment, and I cherish it. I may not care for the gods or the idea of marriage, he continues, his voice gruff but sincere. But I can vow my commitment to you, Amelia, to cherish and support your dreams and desires for as long as you'll allow me to. His words are stiff and uncomfortable, but the love behind them is unmistakable. My heart overflows with emotion, and I can feel tears pricking at the corners of my eyes. Rathnor, I whisper, my voice thick with emotion. I don't need a vow or a ceremony to know how much you care for me. I see it in everything you do, in the way you protect me and my family, in the way you make me feel cherished and loved. He looks at me, his eyes softening. But I want to give you more than that, Emilia. I want to give you the world, if that's what you desire. I shake my head, a tear rolling down my cheek. You've already given me more than I ever could have imagined. All I want is to be with you. Then you shall have me, in whatever way you so wish. I climb into his lap, straddling him and kissing him deeply. His lips leave a trail down my neck and collarbone until he reaches my chest. The heat of his breath sends shivers down my spine, and I can't help but moan as his tongue teases my skin. My fingers wrap around his horns, feeling the smooth texture beneath my fingertips. I pull him closer, wanting to feel every inch of him against me. His strong arms encircle my waist, holding me tight as our bodies move in sync. Rathnor's lips find mine again, and we kiss passionately, our tongues dancing together in a sensual rhythm. I can feel his desire growing, and I know that I want him just as much. He lifts me up effortlessly, rolling us over plush velvet blankets that are spread out on the floor. We lay down together, our bodies entwined as we continue to explore each other. His hands roam over my body, leaving a trail of fire in their wake. I arch my back, pressing myself against him as he teases my body with his hands. We lay there for a moment, our bodies entwined as we catch our breath. I can feel his heart beating against my chest, and I know that I've never felt more connected to anyone in my life. I love you, Emilia, Rathnor whispers, his voice filled with emotion. I love you too, Rathnor, I reply, my heart swelling with happiness. He kisses my neck, biting gently. You are mine, and it will stay that way for as long as I exist. And as we make love in the moonlight, I know that I wouldn't have it any other way. Chapter 15. Emilia. It's the loud crash that wakes me up, but the screaming of Mark and Lily that launches me out of bed. Rathnor is right behind me, tossing the blankets away. Emmy! My heart leaps into my throat and I move without thinking, busting out of my bedroom and racing down the hall. Mark! I scream. Lily! Both of their rooms are empty, and the sound is coming from downstairs now. I race toward the stairway, my body colliding with the railing as I look over to find a group of men pouring at my baby sister, restraining my little brother as he kicks and screams. Stop! I shout desperately, my voice echoing through the house. The men look up, and my heart sinks as I recognise them as Gareth's men. Gareth has his hand fisted in Lily's hair, yanking her head back. Her eyes are wide with terror, and Mark's face is red from screaming. I told you there would be consequences. Gareth sneers. Come down or I slit her throat right here. Every thought flies from my head, leaving only the desperation to protect my family. I take a deep breath and slowly descend the stairs, my eyes never leaving Lily's. As soon as I make it to the last step, Rathnor launches himself over the upstairs railing with a deafening roar. His dark red eyes are glowing with fury, and his tattoos pulse with an eerie light. Release them, he growls, his voice low and menacing. Gareth's men hesitate, their eyes flicking between Rathnor and their boss. Gareth's face twists into a snarl, and he pulls a knife from his belt, pressing it against Lily's throat. You're outnumbered, demon, he sneers. Back off or I'll kill her. Rathnor's eyes narrow, and he takes a step forward. You don't want to do that, he warns. Gareth laughs, but there's a note of uncertainty in his voice. You're bluffing, he says. You won't risk your precious master's family. Rathnor's gaze flicks to me for a brief moment, and I can see the conflict in his eyes. But then he turns back to Gareth, his expression cold and determined. It's too late for you, he says, but release them, and I might let your men live." Gareth hesitates, his grip on Lily's hair tightening. But then, with a sudden movement, Rathnor lunges forward, his hand outstretched. A burst of energy explodes from his palm, sending Gareth and his men flying backward. They crash into the walls and floor, unconscious. Lily and Mark rush into my arms, their bodies shaking with sobs. I hold them tight, my heart pounding in my chest. "It's okay," I whisper, stroking their hair. "It's okay." The room falls silent as Gareth's men lie unconscious on the floor. Rathnor's chest heaves with each breath, his eyes still glowing with a fierce intensity. I can't believe what just happened. Gareth groans, struggling to push himself up from the floor. Rathnor's gaze snaps to him, and he strides forward, grabbing Gareth by the collar of his shirt. "You dare threaten my family," Rathnor growls, his voice low and dangerous. Gareth's eyes widen with fear, and he begins to beg for mercy. "Please, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I won't do it again." Rathnor's grip tightens and he forces Gareth to look at me. "Apologise to Amelia," he commands. Gareth's eyes flick to me, and he swallows hard. "I'm sorry, Amelia. I didn't mean it. Please forgive me." I stare at him, my heart pounding in my chest. I never thought I would see the day when Gareth would beg for forgiveness. But then I look at Rathnor, and I know that he would do anything to protect me and my family. "I forgive you," I say, my voice barely above a whisper. Rathnor nods, and then with a swift movement he snaps Gareth's neck. The room falls silent once again, and I feel a shiver run down my spine. Lily and Mark rush toward Rathnor, throwing their arms around him. "Thank you," Lily says, her voice muffled against his chest. "Thank you for saving us." Rathnor's expression softens, and he wraps his arms around them. "No harm will come to any of you," he vows. "I will always protect you." I join them, hugging Rathnor tightly. I never thought I would find someone who would care for me and my family the way he does. And in that moment, I know that I will do whatever it takes to keep him by my side. The room is still silent as we stand there, holding each other. But then a soft melody begins to play, and I look up to see Rathnor smiling down at me. "What is it?" I ask. "A lullaby," he says, "to help you all sleep peacefully tonight." I close my eyes, listening to the music. It's a beautiful melody, and I feel a sense of peace wash over me. For the first time in a long time, I feel safe. Months have passed since Gareth and his men met their end at the hands of my demon lover. The town has found a new peace without the crime lord's shadow looming over it. Rathnor and I have settled into a life of happiness and trust, watching Mark and Lily grow up. Though there are times when I wish we could be watching our own child grow up. "Good morning, little human." Rathnor greets me in his husky morning voice. The sunlight filters through the window, casting a warm glow on his dark hair and illuminating his dark red eyes. I grin, rolling on top of him and straddling his naked waist. "Good morning, my demon prince." "Prince?" he questions, amused. His hands find my hips, pulling me closer. I shrug and kiss him deeply, feeling the heat of his body against mine. His lips are soft and demanding, and I lose myself in the moment. When we finally break apart, I can't help but smile. "You know, I've been thinking," I say, tracing a finger along his chest, "about wanting to start a family." Rathnor's expression softens, and he brushes a strand of hair out of my face. "Have you?" "I have," I say confidently. "But is it possible for a demon and a human to breed?" Rathnor finished for me, his smirk growing into a grin. "Yes, humans have been a favoured breeding choice for some time." I feel myself flush, but press closer to his body. My fingers trace the grooves and ridges of his horns as I murmur, "And would you be willing?" "To breed you?" He muses. Day and night, my little human. Perhaps we should get started. My heart races at the thought, and I can't help but laugh. Well, when you put it that way... Rathnor's grin turns into a full-blown smile, and he pulls me closer, his lips finding mine in a passionate kiss. I can feel the heat radiating off of him, and I know that he's just as excited as I am. I love you, Rathnor, I whisper, my voice filled with emotion. And I love you, Amelia, he replies, you and the baby that comes from my seed in your womb. Well, I ask, what are you waiting for? There isn't much left of the world after the orcs came.
Savage. Brutal. Merciless.
If you're a woman, you're property. Even to other humans.
What happens when an orc stakes his claim on a human woman? Who would dare to stop him?
Me.
Orcs. Gargoyles. Vampires. Ice monsters. Demons of the dark. These beasts seek war, destruction, and power. And there's only one thing that can tame them.
Love.
This is your chance to get the uncut and unabridged audiobook bundle.
No detail is spared.
Use discount code YouTube30 for an additional 30% off of the already discounted price.
Go to worldsofprotheka.com.
Get access to countless audiobooks and discounted bundles where I talk you through every last scene.
Protheka's magic is eternal. Audio bundles will make it immersive.